prepared yet.
You need to try and pick off the units as. Look at the shields on the mark.
Oh my god, the drone is going to take this.
All right, guys, it's that time. You know it is IPL Season 2 proper matches.
Yeah, buddy. These are the official first games you will be seeing from IPL Season 2. And we have a great game in store for you guys. It's going to be none other than Evil Genius's IdrA versus coL.Drewbie. Why don't you take it away and introduce the positions, Cats?
Here we are. And indeed, yes, as he mentioned, this is Cat's Pajamas here.
And this is Pain User.
And we are back once again. So here we have coL.Drewbie spawning as our blue Terran player here at the 9 o'clock position on Metalopolis. His opponent is Evil Genius's IdrA, our IPL Season 1 champion.
Booyah.
Coming back to repeat. Can he do it?
Are you guys ready for this? I am so excited for this season of IPL. IPL2, so many players getting through, and we are starting things off with a TVZ on Metalopolis between Drewbie and IdrA. Going to be a great game in store for us here. Two very talented players, and IdrA has just been on an absolute tear lately, ever since IPL Season 1, and I feel like that's really when he started coming into his own. He started using new strategies. He got away from that standard cookie-cutter macro style and really became a much more dynamic player.
Absolutely. I think he had this tendency after Korea to kind of play in that mindset, solid mechanics, this is going to win, I don't care what you're throwing at me, this is going to be the response. And ever since then, he's been branching out infestors and drops and Nidus Canals and switching up his builds and just playing really, really pesky, and I love it. I think it's an exciting brand of play, and I've been overjoyed every time I've been watching IdrA.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, before, sometimes not the most entertaining games. It would always go into that late macro stage where, especially in Zerg versus Protoss, you'd have the, the Corruptor versus Colossus wars,
right?
Blink Stalkers screening for the Colossus. I mean, it would just always get to that point in the game. Now we're seeing IdrA win with, all-ins in the early game, all-ins in the mid-game, different timing pushes throughout the game, multiple drops going on. I mean, it's just so much more exciting now, and he's really added so much to his gameplay, and I think that's what makes him an outstanding player. He's adapting, he's changing with the times, and he's getting much better.
And here, let's go ahead and talk about what our players are doing. IdrA went after a 15 hatch. He followed that with a pool and extractor. Drewbie, on the other hand, he did go after a gasless expand build. He's just saving up enough for that expansion now. There's the 400, and it looks like he's sending out his SCV, and that is indeed going to be queued up at his natural.
Just a little bit late on that SCV coming out, but not a big deal. Drewbie, one of those players, always been confident expanding on the low ground. Hopefully he pops up these depots here. Doesn't want that drone to get inside and see everything, but he has seen the command center, so IdrA is aware of this expansion on the low ground. Whether or not he chooses to do some kind of early aggression there, possibly with speedlings or banelings, you never know. I don't think he will, given the cross positions on the map and just given how risky it is to commit that early on to so many Zerglings.
Yeah, and with cross positions, he could just as easily just slap down a third hatchery as well and just try to retain that one base advantage. Looks like he's just putting out a couple of queens and did just now start Zergling speeds. That is being started at this time. Drewbie going to try and apply a little bit of pressure. This is going to force IdrA to produce a few more lings than he would like, but he's still doing a nice job through the whole process of just droning up.
Yeah, he's just going to continue to do so, and Drewbie doing a little bit of one rack's pressure here. I think he might be getting a little bit ahead of himself. Not too many units out for him on the field right now. Maybe he is possibly looking to prevent the extension of the creep very early on in the game before too many Zerglings get out. Maybe he's also trying to force some Zergling production here. Nevertheless, pushing out with his Marines has allowed him to get a little bit of map control. He was able to check both the Xel'Naga towers, make sure there weren't any overlords floating through the middle of the map. So I wouldn't say that he's necessarily 100% secure right now, but he knows that IdrA's sitting back. He's continuing to macro up, produce those drones, and he's not too worried about any kind of an attack right now.
No, absolutely not. I mean, IdrA's going full macro mode, just put up another 9 drones just a couple of seconds ago, and he's going into layer at this time, so we may see some tech come out of him pretty soon. Take a look back at Drewbie's side of things. He's just about to finish up this tech switch. There we go. The factory now switching onto the reactor so we can apply some pressure. And a third command center coming up here in the top left.
Yeah, so switching immediately into this reactor Hellion style here, swapping that barracks out. So he's going to be producing reactor Hellions. He's going to get that Hellion count up, get a pack of Hellions, start roaming the middle of the map, establish his little Hell's Angels biker crew reign on the middle of Metalopolis. But once IdrA realizes what he's up to, he's going to be able to get a few roaches and a few spine crawlers, and we already do have those 2 spine crawlers going down for IdrA. He has one at the back, one at the front. That'll protect him relatively well from Hellions, give him a nice surface area of defense there. We do have a Baneling nest coming, and the lair has just finished, so now I'm curious as to whether or not he's going to get a spire, or if he's getting that Baneling nest and the lair so that he can get Baneling speed and then eventually transition into taking a third here. But Drewbie has already built his third, so he's going to pull a little bit ahead here in the macro game.
Yeah, IdrA hasn't seen this at all, and realistically, I'm not saying IdrA shouldn't be checking around the map or whatever for other expansions, but you just wouldn't expect this at this stage in the game. And if Drewbie's able to pull this off for a couple of minutes, he's going to be pretty far ahead economically. IdrA invested heavily into tech. He went to lair. He's putting down a Baneling nest and a spire. That's not cheap. Takes a while to put up, and he's going to be saving resources for those mutas. So Drewbie, if he sits back for a couple of minutes on this production, he hasn't been producing that many units, he's going to be in a pretty good spot, especially if he gets some economic damage done here with this drop.
Yeah, no doubt about it. These 4 Hellions, hopefully, well, not only hopefully, I feel like almost it's a necessity for them to do a decent amount of damage here. I mean, Drewbie has invested so much in this early tech, getting this medevac out, producing Hellions out of that factory the entire time instead of tanks, so hopefully these Blue Flame Hellions are going to be able to do the trick, and Drewbie adding quite a bit of infrastructure back at his base. 3 more axes, and here come the Blue Flame Hellions. They're going to be able to start roasting these drones, but wow.
Oh,
perfect timing on the surround with the Zerglings by IdrA right there. Going to be able to clean that up, and I think Drewbie's just spending a little bit too much time with this drop. I really don't see him accomplishing too much more.
No, absolutely not. IdrA was well prepared for that. In addition, though, he drops down to third base, but he still doesn't know that Drewbie has this third up here. We can check the vision once again, but he sent nothing up to take a look at that, and Drewbie has that saturated as an orbital command with refinery, with mules on that now, so Drewbie's production is going to be pretty ridiculous. He just slapped down 5 racks while he was doing that drop, so now he's producing 7 Marines at a time out of all of his existing racks, and only now is IdrA able to catch up in production with that macro hatch and his third.
Yes, indeed, but we do have this Mutalisk flock out for IdrA now, and he can do so much damage with that Mutalisk ball when he's one of those players that will just continually dart in and out of your base. And wow, Drewbie with a beautiful turret setup. If we look around his main base, he has turrets everywhere, and those Marines out in front are going to stim and try and catch those Mutalisks, but they won't. But anyway, as I was saying before, there's a turret ring around Drewbie's base by the gas, by the engineering base, by his production. He also has his natural covered. I mean, he really has every possible angle covered to these Mutalisks, and I really don't see them getting any kind of damage done.
Nope, not at all. And let's take a look here and see if IdrA has seen this base yet. Oh, he has. He must have run a ling up here or something along those lines. So he knows it's there. Look at that. He immediately puts down a 4th to try and gain some sort of an advantage in that production. He is up in supply right now by just a little bit, but Drewbie is going to be able to kick over to full production mode, and it's going to take a lot for IdrA to come back. Let's take a look at worker count. Wow, IdrA droning up ridiculously well. He is ahead by about 17 workers now, so his economy is going to look a little bit better, but man, oh man, Drewbie working off of those 3 bases, that's going to be rough to come back against.
Yeah, Drewbie getting those 3 bases. Well, not only working off those 3 bases, but working off of those 3 bases so early on in the game. He's had that third orbital going for quite some time now. He's been reaping the benefits from that, and it looks like IdrA will find a little bit of a window here. Going to be able to sneak in on the bottom half of the third. Will be able to pick off that gas at the very least. That will go down, and he will get out of there. And I love how IdrA just is really just so irritating with those Mutalisks. He's like a mosquito. He just flies around, pokes at you, takes what he can get, takes a barracks here and add on there, but he never gets too greedy. And that's one thing you see from a lot of Zerg players. You know, they'll fly in over aggressively. They'll lose several Mutalisks to stimmed Marines. I mean, IdrA very rarely makes a mistake where he loses all of his Mutalisks like that, and he constantly stays active scouting the map and looking for drops.
Absolutely. Let me tell you that mosquito analogy works especially well. I come from the hot and humid Midwest, and let me tell you, if there's anything I know, it's Missouri mosquitoes. And yes, IdrA embodies that quite well. So here he comes now. Drewbie is going to lose the missile turret, and he's going to come in and start going to work on this engineering bay. Before these Marines get here, he may stop +2 armor, and he does, getting away with no losses.
So important right there. I mean, you know, just taking these incremental advantages with the Mutalisks. Drewbie forced to continually stim these Marines. His Marines have largely been out of position and unable to deal with the Mutalisks, and the problem is that IdrA uses the Mutalisks. He uses this time during the game to continue to expand, to saturate his fourth, to get all those gases going, tech up to hive, continually get his upgrades. We now have infestors on the way, and needs to be a little bit careful there. Might end up running into those Marines, but he's just been so diligent with these Mutalisks all game long, and he's doing damage.
And he's going to come right back through, and these missile turrets aren't going to stand a chance. That's going to allow IdrA to get in here, and no, he doesn't get the engineering bay. The Marines were reacting a little bit too quick. I think IdrA lost 1 Mutalisk there, but he did do damage. He forced a stim out of these units as well, and it looks like Drewbie is going to queue up with a nice big drop here, one going around the top, and this other medevac, there we go, going around the south, but it's got to watch out because there's a pretty good...
Look at that game sense right there. The Overlord already moving in to scout. The Overlord had just started to move to the left right there. IdrA suspicious about drops. Drewbie obviously thinking about drops at the same time. And here we do have Drewbie moving out with almost everything here. I don't know if his army's going to be big enough. He's only at 185 supply right now. There's really no semblance of him trying to take a fourth here, and he is working across the midfield so slow. I believe he's already used a siege there. He desieged, and now he is moving once again, but he is moving ever so slow here, taking his time. He doesn't want to get flanked, but if you look at IdrA's army, he is just absolutely primed for a huge flank maneuver here, and it's only a matter of time before he pounces those 3 different squads of units right on top of Drewbie.
Yep, and IdrA moves away with those mutas. At the same time, Drewbie's moving down with a bunch of Marines. He is going to take out that spine crawler. At the same time, he's moving up with a bunch of units, and IdrA was worried about those infestors. Just lost a lot of lings. He should be able to reproduce those pretty quickly, but may not be enough, may not be in time. We'll find out. This hatchery is going to fall. IdrA trying to respond to this, but I don't think he has the timing. He's going to move in for the attack. A bunch of siege tanks are up, though, and beautiful job. He took out all of those units. IdrA down to just his last couple of banelings. He didn't run it with the mutas, and now they're just running over the Marines.
God.
Hold on.
Oh, my goodness. Can we replay
Yeah, we are. Okay, I'm going to follow the mutas because this is going to be... Oh, the mutas were all the way up at the main. Okay, hold on. We're going to follow these in. And and then watch this burst from the Thor.
What happened there?
That was rough.
You know, I really hope IdrA was actually just doing that for pure comedic value. You know, there is a chance that he is that, you know, on tune with where we're at right now.
Yeah.
That was just hilarious. Look at that. That was a Mutalisk Zit. That was instantly popped.
That was just that was
by
this
your
Thor
friendly Thor.
10 kills on the Thors right there. Oh my God.
Have you ever seen anything?
That was a lot. That was a lot. Wow. Well, anyway, so there we go. So Drewbie takes a nice advantage of the early part of the game, but IdrA honestly played good catch-up. He had his opponent match in supply. He had enough resources banked to replenish his army had he been able to find, you know, relatively even footing. It just so happened that Drewbie crushed that force.
I mean, very well played by Drewbie. He was being patient on the push. What I like to call it is octopus tyranny. When you have your mech backbone, and that's like your central location, and then you send out small little groups of Marines with a couple medevacs to do critical damage. For instance, there at the 4th, he sent that other little group of Marines up there to engage the Zerglings, and those are your little octopus arms. And then when you need to run home to the main body, that's when things get interesting. Once you bring all the banelings in, bring all the lings in, and Drewbie just did a great job of baiting that situation, and IdrA ran right into it, and then I don't know what what was going on with those mutas. That was not very IdrA-esque.
No, that didn't work out too well. But by then, the battle had almost been lost because of how far he had to retreat his Mutalisks from, and his Zergling, Baneling, Infestor army was already obliterated. But nonetheless,
so that'll do it, guys. That is game 1. IdrA actually going down 0-1. So our season 1 champion might have his work cut out for him here. We're going to go into game 2 right now.